Hello everyone, do we really need a PS5 Pro? And why, all of a sudden, is everyone talking about the prospect of a new mid-generation upgrade? Last week, Insider Gaming, who have been very accurate about past PlayStation leaks when it comes to hardware, like the new PS5 that was supposed to come with a detachable disc drive, they revealed that a new PS5 Pro is in development. They also went on to say that it has a tentative release date of late 2024, but details about the specs and what it is capable of, it's very limited. Probably the only thing that points to a possible PS5 Pro was a patent filed by Sony talking about how they can maximize ray tracing's performance. With that said, as I have stated at the beginning of the video, do we really need a mid-generation upgrade? The answer is no. I could end the video there and call it a day, but we all want answers, right? The first thing we have to talk about is the stock shortages. If you're trying to get a PS5, let's say, around the launch period in 2020 or throughout the whole of 2021, that was an insane and frustrating experience for everyone involved. Imagine trying to load up the site to place a PS5 order, pressing F5 every waking second, just for the site to crash, and then not long after, your chance to get a new console is gone. Gone to the bots, and scalpers sell consoles at 3 times the price. Well, that was a painful time to remember. By the time you finally managed to get a PS5 when the stock has stabilized, now the conversation is about a new upgraded console? I feel that it's a kick in the teeth to consumer confidence towards a console that has been unattainable for many people to purchase over the last 2 years. Like, you're telling people that you're releasing a more powerful console, you're giving them the impression that they're not going to experience the best games at the best quality on the current PS5. The same thing applies for Microsoft if they're developing the upgraded versions of the Series X and S. And the worst part about this is that they're talking about a late 2024 release. The PS5 only just became more accessible to buy within the last couple of months, so you're not even giving your flagship console time to settle down in the market. This also ties into cross-generation titles and the amount of PS5s that are out there too. There's around 32 million PS5s in the wild, and in that period of time, it's tracking behind the PS4 in the same period, all because of the stock shortages, the chip shortage, and the scalping that went out of control when the console launched. And while the PS5 has sold really well so far, to a lot of developers and publishers, it's simply not enough just to move on purely to current generation platforms. You just can't help but feel that the PS5 itself has been a PS4 Pro Plus, and it kind of has been like that for a while, despite the many awesome features it offers. The PS4 is still relatively easy to work with when it comes to development. The only issues it really had from the start were its terrible mobile CPU and the slow hard drives, and there are still so many people who haven't upgraded yet. Obviously, with the current situation right now, 2023 will probably be the last big year for the PS4, but for now, the status quo has been to cater for both last gen and current gen. Where does the PS5 Pro even make sense in this? By the time if it ever ends up releasing, there's still not going to be enough games that show that what the PS5 is capable of. There just isn't enough games yet to justify just making a Pro model. Also, a pretty brief point to make. Adding a Pro model to consoles that developers already work with, from the base PS4 and Xbox One, to the PS4 Pro and One X, to the PS5 and the Series X and S, and like for some games to the Nintendo Switch, it only makes the development process more time consuming. It really just comes down to how well the PS5 does, and whether that sways developers to move on from the last gen consoles. You know, I could understand why the PS4 Pro was a thing when it was released 7 years ago. 4K TVs finally became affordable, and Sony wanted to take the plunge in providing 4K gaming to the console audience. It also gave developers a decent amount of power to not only target 4K visuals, but the flexibility for people to choose the graphics mode that they wanted, whether it be fidelity, the highest resolution, or the best one of all, frame rate modes. I mean, I caved in and bought a Pro for that very reason a few years ago, because it offered a significant performance boost on the base PS4. If a game was running at 30 FPS on the base PS4, the chances are it could manage to hit a target of 60 on the Pro, provided the game actually had the option to do so. I can't even think of a single big selling point that would make a PS5 Pro worthwhile. The current PS5 is a very capable machine. It manages 4K 60 pretty well, even if every game does not hit that target frame rate, and the 120 FPS offered for some games has been one of the best features for current gen consoles by far. Like yeah, frame rate boosts would be awesome, but the PS5 is already doing really well on that principle. Maybe the closest we'd get for huge performance boosts would be more 120 FPS games, but I don't think that's enough when you do really think about it. Second of all, they're talking about better ray tracing. Personally, although it looks amazing in some cases, it just doesn't feel like a big feature to boast about when trying to sell a more powerful system. I just don't see the appeal whatsoever. Finally, and what I believe is the biggest reason that might have been able to justify a PS5 Pro, but one that just isn't there yet, 8K gaming. 8K TVs have slowly but surely have been starting to drop in price, but let's be absolutely realistic here. They're still out of reach for most people, and not to mention the current 4K TVs that are available right now, they're already amazing for the PS5 and Series X. 4K 120fps, VRR, LLM, HDMI 2.1, that's good enough for lots of people who are big into gaming, and I'm not sure if it's economically feasible to make an 8K console. The current gen consoles are actually capable this time round. Put it this way, a PS5 Pro, at first glance, it might seem pretty exciting, but there's just not enough games yet, and we have already got consoles that run almost every game at 60 FPS, and sometimes hitting 4K. A Pro model, it just doesn't have any incentive this time around. Thank you for watching the video. If you liked it, please leave a like, comment or subscribe, it's really appreciated. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.